Alright folks, it's Andy here from Rusty and the Woodsman. So today's video I'm going to be carving this round down into a wooden mallet that we can keep at our bushcraft camp, or if you've got a place in the woods that you regularly visit, you can leave it there so it's there for when you return. But we can use them for different things. If you need to split some firewood down using your axe or your knife, you can use a mallet to knock it through. If you need to, put some stakes into the ground or some tent pegs into the ground, you can use it for that as well. Or if you're doing any notching on pieces of wood for making various structures, you've got a wooden mallet there that you can knock your chisel through with. So what you're going to need, so you'll need a round, and I'd say about 10 to 12 inches would be perfectly long enough, and about 4 inches wide. You'll need a saw, and you'll need a knife or an axe, but I'm going to use a knife. So I had to switch rounds. The other bit was a bit too punky around the edges, it was no good for what I wanted it for, but this one here, this one's a lot more solid. So what I'm going to do is put my hand on it, where I want my handle to be. This side of the round's thinner, this bit's the heavier end, so I'm going to have this bit as the mallet end that's going to pound on stakes and etc, etc. So I've got about an inch sticking out the bottom there, and I'll do about an inch sticking out the top for a handle, and that'll be plenty long enough. And then what you want to do is cut into this. You basically want to cut a ring all the way around it, about 3/4 of an inch deep. And that's it ringed all the way around now. So now we take the knife and we start chopping that excess material away from the handle. And then with a temporary batten, you're just going to remove that excess material away, piece by piece. And now you can see starting to take the general shape of the handle. Obviously there's more material to remove and just sort of get those sharp edges away, but it's going how we want it to. So we've got the handle profile all chipped away now. You can see like there's a lot of ridges around it, so we're going to have to carve those off, otherwise those will cause hot spots in your hand. So that's the handle all carved down now. I've profiled it, it's nice and rounded so there won't be any hot spots in the hand when it's using. But I can turn my attention to the top end now, and this angle from where I cut it, I can recut that so it's flush. I could chamfer the top of that, I could chamfer around this edge here, I could chamfer the bottom, I can bore a hole through the handle to put some cordage in it so I can hang it up. And what I can also do, which I probably will do, is strip this bark off because there's a few gnarly bits sticking out of it, and depending on what it is I'm working on, I don't want it causing any damage to that. So that's the next step. So that's all the bark shaved off the top end. So what I'm going to do now is cut this flush. And now I'm going to chamfer these edges around the top end. With chamfering all the edges, I mean, granted it does make it look a bit better, but it's more for those, you know, sharp edges, you know, they could be digging into you when you're working with it. So just chamfer them, round them off a bit, just make it a bit more comfortable in your hand when you're working with it. But what I want to do now is just bore a small hole through the handle at the bottom here, so I can put some cordage through it, so I can hang it up off the ground. And I'll be using this. So this is my homemade version of a gimlet. It's basically an 8mm wood drill bit which has been epoxied into this handle. What I've also done is grooved into either side with an old Dremel bit into the side of the drill bit that goes into the handle, and on either side here I've screwed in bolts. It basically stops the drill bit from spinning the handle, because even with it being epoxy resin, with the pressure of it drilling into a tree or whatnot, it just makes the drill bit spinning the handle when it's just epoxied. So I'll put in a couple of bolts on either side, and then I've basically plugged them with a bit of wood so you can't see them, but that stops the drill bit from spinning. I've used this for tapping birch tree, and hopefully I'll get to do that again this spring. There you go folks, a lanyard hole with my wooden mallet. So my final step is to put a lanyard on this using a piece of jute twine. I like using jute twine for these types of things in case I don't have a kit to come back, and that way if I don't, then I know this mallet and this jute twine, it'll all just, you know, naturally decompose. Whereas if I use something like, you know, paracord that's, you know, plastic, it wouldn't decompose quite as easily. So yeah folks, that's it, ready to go, ready to be used. So I'll put this in my pack now and walk over to my little spot and drop it off there. Hopefully Rusty won't chew it, but I think you want it, don't you? Or do you want to go? Get going. Yeah, so Rusty wants to go, so we'll go. But I hope you enjoyed the videos folks. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch it. And if you're not a subscriber, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, I'd really appreciate that. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Take care.